Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Top Decked, and we'll take a look at them after round 1. So I decided I wanted to play Slivers today, and so I did what anyone would do if they wanted to play Slivers. I went to MTG Goldfish, typed in Daniel Nunes' name, and looked at the last list that he piloted. So, slivers, aka meat hooks, because a bunch of these slivers have kind of like these very hooky arms, is a tribal deck focused around the Sliver tribe. And very many of these slivers grant increases to power and toughness. So as you play more of these, your creatures scale and very quickly get out of the range of red removal spells like Lightning Bolt, and they tend to dominate combat. They also tend to dominate combat because you get things like evasion or first strike, and there's a couple of slivers that provide protection as well. Crystalline Sliver is absolutely absurd. Giving all of your slivers shroud is just, quite frankly, unacceptable. Like, this is so good, just shuts off every single removal spell outside of, like, board wipes and edicts. This card is so hard to deal with. And there's also Hibernation Sliver, which gets very cute when paired with Aether Vial. You pay 2 life to return a sliver to your hand. And that sometimes gets very cute if you have ETB slivers like Harmonic Sliver as well. One sliver that normally doesn't see play but is seeing play here is Syphon Sliver. With cards like Murktide Regent running around that can just hit for extremely large chunks of damage, having some ability to just like gain, 10 or more life in every combat step is pretty gross. And as another concession to Murktide Regent, we can also see Maze of Ith in the sideboard here, as well as copies of Unlicensed Hearse, both in the main deck and in the sideboard. Yeah, so this is very much a I am intending on getting you dead deck list. So you'll notice this version does not have Force of Wills, for example. We don't have really game 1 game versus combo. Our plan is race, kill you, and hope that's good enough. And then the sideboard has some things like Mindbreak Trap, Null Rod, and Chalice of the Void, so that you actually can have some disruptive permanence. Highlighting one last sliver that's not always in the builds, Cloud Shredder Sliver also gives your creatures flying and haste, which is a pretty gross combo. Yeah, so let's tap some Aether Vials, play a whole bunch of rainbow lands because, tribal lands, especially Cavern of Souls, are good. And we can also repeatedly make some 1/1 sliver tokens, but that's super, super endgame stuff, and it's pretty unlikely to happen, especially since we are a wasteland deck and we are going to destroy opponents' lands sometimes. Anyway, if you're new here and this is your first time watching one of my videos, please consider subscribing if you like what you see. I'm planning on doing a giveaway once I hit 15K, hopefully around the end of the month. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. That's one of the easiest ways to support my content for free. The donation queue is pretty short right now, so if you do want to get a deck on the channel, it will probably appear in a little over a week after you make the donation. All right, let's battle. I have mana. I have slivers. This is a cape. Okay, Tropical Island, maybe some sort of Bant control deck is going to be my first guess. Notably, not a Yorion deck is kind of the first thing that I learn here. And this is a rug deck. I might want to start getting plated slivers going immediately. Otherwise, I can just play Galerider Sliver here. We're always playing Cavern. We're always putting that on Sliver. Actually, I'm going to go for the plated sliver first, just in case. Like, if I eat a prismatic ending on this card here, like, I would rather lose this than the Galerider Sliver. Okay. Am I immediately losing a sliver? There is red removal. There is a Tarmogoyf, and that is a reason to have played Galerider Sliver first. I could just play 2 slivers this turn rather than slamming Muscle Sliver. Yeah, I think I like it. All right, name Sliver. Play a plated sliver without using Cavern of Souls, and then a Galerider Sliver using Cavern of Souls. Uncounterable blue mana. Yeah. Now, my beautiful boys fly. I get to crash in for just one, but the Muscle Sliver next turn is going to hit like a truck, and I can also play a Galerider Sliver as well. I do have to keep in mind that until I control 2 of these, I can potentially lose some of this stuff just in combat. That is very much a thing that can happen. Sure. Alright, opponent's getting to filter some bad cards off the top of their library. That was a lot of land in a row. Notably, not very many card types in the graveyard here. Like, this is only going to be land and sorcery, 2 types as of the end of the turn, which is nice for Tarmogoyf. Well, nice for me, for their Tarmogoyf. Alright, no shuffle there. Okay, good stuff. So, this goes on Sliver. We'll play a Galerider Sliver. I will do that counterably. Then I will do an uncounterable Muscle Sliver. And this is a lot of unblockable damage. Like, opponent is going to 11 this turn. And because I played out a bunch of plated slivers previously, like, my creatures are X-Force, which means that lightning bolts do not kill my creatures anymore. I also profitably block X3 creatures. Yeah, Life from the Loam, not a high impact spell here. Yeah, that's fine. Now, opponent does need to be careful. There are some worlds in which they can accidentally force these creatures to attack, which would not be great for them. I don't think I need to block here. I don't think I need to set up a lightning bolt being good for my opponent, or like some other mid-combat nonsense that accidentally grows that Tarmogoyf. Ooh, yeah. I'll play a counterable Hibernation Sliver, uncounterable Predatory Sliver. Alright. Blue, black? That's all fine. A Dragon Rage Channeler goes to the graveyard. That does grow those. Now, normally Hibernation Sliver I value pretty highly, but I'm just planning on killing my opponent here. So let's go ahead and battle on in. Yeah, you can absolutely use your mana to predict. I'm so good with that. Absolutely. You may draw your 2 cards as I crash in for 15 damage. Yeah, they have to mill away a lightning bolt here because it's not a successful removal spell. Okay, they are straight up taking chump blocks and going to 1. I can't really think of any played cards that beat me here. Yeah. I don't know what you're digging for. Like, not even something really weird like Pyroclasm beats this board, yeah. Just run over the Delver player. I like Hearse, I like Maze of Ith, Leyline is playable. Opponent probably has Murktide or Uro or both. And my question mostly is going to be like, how many cards can I / should I board in here? Like, I don't mind the ley lines. Like, conceptually, I like them versus current iterations of like Delver and Delver-like decks. But I'm not really sure what I want to board out. Like, the flying is good here, both offensively and defensively. The lifelink is good. The plated slivers stacking up with the other lords, get me out of lightning bolt range is good. And like, striking sliver, while not overly impressive, is still just a 1-drop sliver. And like, I want to curve 1-drops into 2-drops every single time. Yeah, I lack the experience to know what to board out here. Hibernation Sliver maybe can go. Like, it's really cute in scenarios where you have like Aether Vials and you need to just like block a Murktide Regent, bounce the creature so it doesn't die or something like that. But I don't know. Let's try this. I'm just like very unsure about the ley lines. Like, specifically because of like the density of my own cards. Yeah, this has a lot of lords. I'll keep it. All right, game on. Who would win? 1 Delver or 77 Hooky Boys? Alright, this goes on Sliver, very obviously. I think I'm fine playing this one out early. Like, I have redundant flying for later if something goes wrong with this. I just don't want to get wastelanded. Like, wasteland life from the loam is super scary for me. Okay, sure. So that'll be the air quotes perfect brainstorm. Play this on Sliver. Attempt my first lord here. Oh. This resolving doesn't really mean anything. I expect it to get lightning bolted immediately. Alright. Send in the attack. Oh. Wow, I didn't get lightning bolted immediately. Unexpected. Okay. Itching and end the festivities. I mean, that's a pretty good sideboard card. Yeah. Good stuff. Like that's the sort of stuff you are going to need. Alright, there is an Uro, absolutely. Not really in the position to out damage that right now, unfortunately. I think I need this mana over time. A little awkward to just play this out, but I want the attack next turn in some worlds. Good, I am not immediately eating Uro this turn. Immediate fetch land would have gotten them there. Okay, I will have to deal with Uro next turn, though. Alright, Vial can tick up. Okay. One of these this turn. Two of these next turn. Plus this turn. That's all fine. Ooh. What is this going to be? Petty Theft on the Aether Vial. Kind of like weird timing, but okay. Okay, so that's bounced to hand. There's a Lightning Bolt as well. Sure. Yeah, I get to get in for a little bit of damage here, but I'm going to be like very much behind in tempo because of that Fury. Here does come the Uro. Like, there's some worlds where I can beat this, but it's hard after losing the Aether Vial. Not impossible, just hard. Probably involves building a first strike wall. I'm gonna hope to draw a land and play this Aether Vial out at some point later. Like, I would love to get like the Vial in and get it start ticking up, but I just don't think I can avoid the tempo hit here. It takes 6 this turn and 9 on subsequent turns in all likelihood. Sure, that's fine. There's a land drop for my opponent to hit. So I get 100% like risk the game on a triple block here. If I draw a land, am I winning this game in combat? I can attack for 9, which is really just like attacking for 6 because of Uro. It may be correct to take a huge risk here and just triple block because I'm so far behind in this game right now. I think I never win if I miss on a land drop for this next turn. So how many lands do I have? 21. I have seen 1, 2. I have 19 lands out of 48. I'm sub 50% to draw a land. I'm going to take a huge risk play here. I think this just has the highest upside for me if it actually works. Okay. They have a second Brazen Borrower. That's fine. Like, I accept that. Let's see, for lols, if I would have drawn the land. Would have drawn the land. I am comfortable conceding at this point. I'm not going to beat the active Uro after essentially taking a 3-for-1 hit from it there. Okay. And the multiple Brazen Borrowers do make the whole leyline thing less reliable. I am very unsure about how to get these leylines in here. I don't think I can get rid of any of the power and toughness decreasing things because getting stuff out of range of lightning bolts is so important. Maybe I can do like something like this and that gets them in there. They're just like such bad top decks. And I don't have enough reps with this deck to know for sure how to deal with that. This does not have enough mana. That is a mulligan. Fuck. I probably begrudgingly have to keep this hand and hope to top deck well. Like, I have 2 relevant spells and essentially 3 lands and a land destruction spell, kind of. Alright. Very unhappy about this hand. But, like, since I am a, like, spell density deck, every card that I play or sorry, every card that I lose to a mulligan, like, very much matters. Alright. I am going to try to slow this game down. Like, I have a bunch of land drops that I can hit. I'll peck in for one, and hopefully, like, this buys me some time to get out of this current situation. I don't believe that I have seen a Daze yet. I don't think I will play around Daze next turn. What did that Ponder do? Alright, no shuffle on the Ponder. Fuck. I haven't seen a Daze yet. I'm gonna take the high upside play here and just hope that I top deck into something reasonable that I can start casting. Okay. We're just immediately, absolutely immediately taking those cards out. And I'll poke in for my 1. My attack for 1 is now much better than my opponent's attack for 1. And I won't crew this at points where I expect that it can reasonably die. Alright, Tarmogoyf going to the graveyard. Okay, sure. Yeah, this is fine. Like, these are not overly threatening with an unlicensed hearse in play. These are not the draws I'm looking for. Let's wasteland this. Take out the less common types. It's a little awkward, like, leaving these in here for Life from the Loam, but I want to act now because of things like Murktide Regent. And I don't think I'm interested in blocking. I will just crash in for the 1. What's the crew on this? 2. Sure. So this creature can't crew it alone. But I very much think that it is currently on checking graveyard duty. Alright, no shuffle. So they did find a land there. Fine, I'll take my 2. Alright. New Sliver friend. Hello. Alright. Name Sliver. 3 and 1 for uncounterable Muscle Sliver. The combat, crash in for 2. I'm not interested in attacking with this right now. Like, I feel like the way I lose is my opponent slipping through something that just absolutely dominates combat. Plus, every time that I tap this, I just make this bigger for the future. Am I getting bolted? Oh. Makes sense, because my opponent would have bolted me in combat. That's a bit of a kick in the teeth. So I lose both of my creatures to that Fury. Like, that was a 2 for 2. Alright, there's Expressive Iteration. The good news is I'm still not really in any danger. Like, I am taking 2 damage a turn. My opponent's graveyard is in check, so a Murktide Regent isn't going to slip in play. A Tarmogoyf isn't going to be overly scary. Okay, they're just making land drops. That's fine. Things become bad if this, like, eats in a Braid or equivalent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm going to continue to play the defensive game that I'm playing. Cavern on Sliver. 2 mana, slam a Muscle Sliver. Keep opponent's graveyard in check. And at some point, I can pivot this into an attacker. I don't really feel ready to do that yet. Alright, Lightning Bolt on Muscle Sliver. That's fine. Opponent keeping whatever they just saw on top. Okay, for a predict, sure. So if they're just planning on predicting that card away anyway, shouldn't they have just funneled more cards into their graveyard? And then, like, you cast the predict, and the Dragon Rage Channeler triggers allow you to see what that thing is. Sure, that's fine. I put the Lightning Bolt back on top to get rid of the next creature that I play. Yes. That may mean that Sliver Hive actually starts being a reasonable thing that I will do in this game. Yeah. Okay. That on Sliver. Get rid of Predict and Wasteland in case Life from the Loam is a thing that gets involved. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This thing is nearing the point where it is just going to kill my opponent if it gets to connect once. I am scared of a Murktide Regent slipping into play this turn, though. I am also scared that I will randomly draw one of the 3 ley lines that are in my deck. Okay, there's a Tarmogoyf. Sure. Fucked up their tapping. They didn't leave up red for Lightning Bolt. They are leaving back this for crewing reasons. It is a crew 2 situation. Now it starts getting a little weird in regard to, like, Tarmogoyf size with unlicensed hearse. I think I'm supposed to wait now. Yeah, and this is part of the reason why. If I wait, I can try to take my opponent off of something that grows the Tarmogoyf. That Ponder did shuffle. See how much of this they're willing to swing in. You don't fly or trample or anything, right? No. Okay. I think I take this hit rather than do a chump block with the Sliver Hive token. There's some lines where I just give this flying and I win next turn. Alright, go to 6. Maybe supposed to actually take out these two post-combat or something. I don't know, maybe I could have done that in combat to save 1 life. Activate only if you control a sliver. Okay, I fucked up. Alright, goodbye Expressive Iteration and Ponder. I need to top deck an evasion sliver of some kind. And I'm still okay. That is not that. Alright, Secluded Courtyard on Sliver. Play Striking Sliver. This is lethal, but I can't actually get in through 2 blockers. So I think I'm just gonna chill. I'm at a precarious life total. Shit. Don't think I beat that. I can exile, like, Burrow, Pyroblast here. I have 2 chump blockers, but that undid a gajillion turns of unlicensed hearse activations. 6 turns worth. Yeah, Lightning Bolt me. And then I'm basically dead. Not technically dead. Collect Roof. Interesting. Yeah, there's 3 card types in graveyard, so I'm not technically dead. I can block, take 2, go to 1, but I don't think I beat that. And Sorcery will also turn those into 3/3s, as that's not in there. Yeah, I will go ahead and concede there. Ugh, what a slog. GG's. Came up a little short there. This League with Slivers is brought to you by Top Deck, an all-in-one Magic the Gathering companion app/website. If you're tired of, like, jumping around between a lot of places, always having to go to one place for your collection, another place for news, another place for, like, following MTG card prices, Top Deck kind of has it all. Consider giving them a look, and they help fund this channel. All right, back to the meat hooks. Okay, I'm going to keep this hand. I'm on the play. I have Striking Sliver into Predatory Sliver or Muscle Sliver into the other one with a Wasteland backing it up at some point in there, depending on what opponent's mana situation looks like. Alright, are we doing a Delvery thing again? You're probably doing a Delvery thing again. Okay, so, like, do I Wasteland my opponent, or do I just start immediately vomiting creatures? If I just start vomiting creatures, I can play Predatory Sliver this turn into Muscle Sliver, Plated Sliver next turn. I think that's better than Wastelanding my opponent. Let's continue down the road that I am currently on. Grab Muscle Sliver. Bash for 2 with the hopes of being outside of Lightning Bolt range with all of my cards next turn. With all of the surveilling that Dragon Rage Channeler does, I haven't had a lot of success with knocking my opponents off of mana somewhat permanently after, like, they lead on Dragon Rage Channeler pass, because there's even 0-drop cards, like literally Mishra's Bauble, but also like Force of Will effectively, that also can help them, you know, scry into their land drops. Okay, that is no shuffle, and we didn't see a Wasteland, which was one of the things that I was more scared of. This feels like a trap, right? Like, this is very obviously a bad attack on paper. Opponent has typed oops in chat. I don't fucking trust that oops. Like, this just feels like playing up a fucking trap. Like, they just fetch Lightning Bolt. No, that doesn't make sense, right? If they have the Lightning Bolt, they just want to... Yeah, this feels like a trap. Like, if... Yeah, I smells bad. Smells bad to me. Sure. Color's fine. Okay. So this is counterable. And we do see the counter. Goodbye. This is uncounterable. And I'll attack for 6. Put my opponent to 9. Yeah, like if my opponent has Lightning Bolt on that previous turn, like Lightning Bolt striking Sliver, this becomes a 3/3 that I normally couldn't block. Like, such a disaster for me. Like that's one of those times where maybe I make a different play in paper if I can actually see their body language. But like that absolutely felt to me like a played up trap. All right, they kept something on top with Brainstorm, so they found something that they like. Unfortunately, like my cards are still Lightning Boltable, which is something that I was trying to avoid by playing Outplated Sliver and Predatory Sliver in the same turn cycle. But you know, it is what it is. Let's see if they have a Murktide Regent. It's very bad for me if they do, and it's like they do. I am so tired of playing against this card. Like, this is turn 3. That's a 3/3, 2 mana, like 6/6. A little absurd. Alright, play this. Counterable Striking Sliver. Uncounterable Flying Haste Source. Wasteland you. Opponent blocks one of these. I have lethal. So we win despite Murktide Regent. But that was a bad situation that we managed to win through. The haste here, so that like both of those creatures I just played out attacking was huge. Like I needed both haste creature and another creature that I played to resolve. Otherwise, like I don't have it. Otherwise, I only get in 6 damage that turn. All right, so I think I am going to take the ley lines here. I'm still like a little unsure as to like what comes out. I think I'm going to go Hibernation Sliver out again. Cloud Shredder Sliver was clutch in that exact situation, but I think I'm still okay going down that, and I don't really know what to do for the last cut. I could just like go down 1 Aether Vial. I think it's 1 Aether Vial or 1 Striking Sliver. Like I still have 29 creatures, so like that's still a very healthy count for Aether Vial. But I'm bringing, like I am dropping my Sliver count by 5 or 6. Yeah, let's try that. And then when I'm on the play, I might take advantage of the other Aether Vial since it can come down before Daze does. A Wasteland is exceptionally good against me, but Leyline is exceptionally good against them. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I would really prefer that this have one more land or an Aether Vial in it. But you can't have it all. Okay, cool. I may be supposed to just Wasteland them there. Honestly. To just keep them further away from something like a Brazen Borrower. And give them less resources to cantrip into a Wasteland with. Yeah, I think I fucked that up. I don't know, like, with the 2 lands that I'm on, like, maybe I'm just wrong and I need to keep both to cast my own spells. Okay, sure. I'll upkeep Wasteland them. We'll play this mutually assured destruction game. Alright. They unfortunately do have another land. So do I. Liver. And I am going to lead on the things that increase my toughness because like I am playing against a red removal deck. Nope, okay. It feels like opponent has a daze and they were thinking about dazing that and then I think realized they want a higher priority target than just that. It is totally fair. Ooh. That's pretty good. Alright, so no land drop for me. 19 more of these and we're Gucci. So I don't have too many things to worry about here, but my opponent is going to find relevant mana before I do, just like unquestionably. Like they can cantrip, I can't. Yeah. So like their lightning bolts and such will be on, and if they play Dragon Rage Channelers, that's a very good draw. They can play Dragon Rage Channelers that can help them like sculpt towards something that can eventually beat a Leyline. But oh, really? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take my attack in, and then I'm gonna do something that's a little weird here. I have the read that my opponent has a Daze, right? So I'm not going to play my Aether Vial into Daze. I'm just going to play a creature into this Daze. Yeah. So I'm just going to have them tap their 2 lands, counter this Plated Sliver, and then I'm going to try to resolve the Aether Vial next turn. Yep. There we go. Yeah, so, like, opponent tapping their island before gave me that read. Okay, nothing with their turn. In I go. Okay, yep, that's fine. Now I'll attempt this. I don't necessarily think this is going to resolve, because, like, my opponent has 5 cards in hand that aren't creatures and aren't ponders, right? Yeah. So they were likely to have, like, Force of Will and Murktide Regent in hand. Like, because those are the sorts of things that you can't play on this board. Sure. I am not going to use that as a wasteland. How many dazes has my opponent used? My opponent has used 1 daze. And again, they're not playing out cards, so like a daze is somewhat likely. I think I'm just going to try to play around daze. Like, this maybe doesn't work forever. But at least for right now, I have the option. So, like, they're likely to have, like, Force of Will, Dazes, Lightning Bolts. Like, those sorts of cards in hand. Or that's fine. Like, it's very good. Like, anything that is letting my opponent look for wastelands right now is strong. Okay. That's a ponder, sure. This leyline effectively serving as a counter spell for that Murktide Regent was so clutch and making sure I didn't just like get clocked into oblivion this game. Alright, and that was a shuffle. That's an interesting draw. It only works on my graveyard currently. It gets big. I'm very unsure about like what I play. Like, I can play around days by playing Striking Sliver again, or I can just like feed a card 2 days. Let's get the Unlicensed Hearse going. I don't care if this card gets dazed. Like, it's not a, like, huge hate card. Yeah, that's fine. Since, like, the Leyline already has that covered. I want to just rip a Cavern of Souls, get Crystalline Sliver into play, and then just feel, like, super safe. Just, like, working on willing that to the top of the deck. My opponent eventually, like, will find a Delver of Secrets, yeah, or something. Like, at some point, I do need to... Ooh, okay, that's a little scary, and they're gonna flip, too. That's very good. I think I need to start jamming these lords. Like, I want to resolve a couple of these, and then a Syphon Sliver, and use that to race these Delvers. Alright, flipping to Expressive Iteration is definitely spooky. Lightning Bolt's annoying. So is Wasteland. Wasteland more so. Alright. Just a Brainstorm that went to exile there. Okay, that's rough. I probably lose this one now for just missing land drops for too many turns in a row. Like, those 2 Expressive Iterations caught my opponent up, and, like, these cards are just basically stranded in my hand here. Like, there's worlds where I draw a land, and my opponent just draws bricks where I can win this, but otherwise I think I'm in pretty bad shape. I am on a 3-turn clock here. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. Go ahead and play a Striking Sliver. Okay, they're just using this purely for the Surveil triggers. And they liked whatever they found, unfortunately. I will get to resolve this, play a Maze of Ith, and then it's just kind of a fingers crossed situation that my opponent doesn't find a removal spell or wasteland. Alright, I'll go ahead and untap one of those, take 3 this turn, hope to spike a land. Alternatively, a Sliver that lets my Slivers fly is also totally fine. Opponent's got 1 card, so minus this being a Pyroblast, this should resolve. Okay. I'm not safe. I have a very fucking fragile house of cards here. Yeah, Petty Theft means that I just get attacked for 6... Or no, it's still only 3. Like, I do have the Maze of Ith. Yeah. But then that's another creature a turn from now. I would love my opponent to just whiff this turn. That's not a whiff. I get to look at 5 fucking cards. They put a card on top. That should mean I'm dead. Yeah, Wasteland on Maze of Ith kills me this turn. Alright, concede. And we get another chance here. Alright, so on the play, the other Aether Vial becomes much more attractive. Cloud Shredder, Shriver, the Sliver also reasonable. I am very unsure about my cuts, like in terms of how many 1-drops can I reasonably cut. Like the first strike isn't the most relevant thing in the world. Like I feel comfortable doing that swap, and then from there it's like, do I want flying badly enough that I cut some 1-drop slivers? I am unsure without playing more matches. But I'm gonna go ahead and board like that. With 1 mana source, this hand would have been insane. But I don't think I can accept that level of greed. This hand I like. I think I'm going to throw back the second Galerider Sliver and keep my extra lands. All right, Cavern. Sliver. Galerider Sliver. Possible that playing Secluded Courtyard first there is better for Wasteland reasons. But it looks like I don't have to worry about that this turn. Play Muscle Sliver on my turn. So that I can play Unlicensed Hearse on 3 around days. That's fine. I will clock faster than that. Okay. Sliver. Uncounterable creature. 2 in the air. And we're just kind of hoping that my aggression ends up being better than my opponent's aggression. Lightning Bolt style cards are going to slow me down a lot, but hopefully, like, my Wastelands also slow my opponent down a lot. Okay, yep. Something I really didn't want to happen. That is... Oh, wow. Opponent pumping the brakes here. Since I can't cast any other spell, I am going to go ahead and play this. I don't really want to play this into a daze. Ooh, it just worked. Nice. By Ponder, goodbye Wasteland. I am not willing to trade Muscle Sliver. I think I'm willing to trade Galerider Sliver. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good with tradesies there. And if I can get this thing in play, oh buddy, we're in good shape. All right, so I can probably keep opponent's graveyard under check to the point where this remains a 1-1 for most or all of the game. I'm worried about, like, Brazen Borrower type cards bouncing this out of play and undoing many, many, many turns of progress, though. That was a shuffle. Okay. So since I have another Wasteland, I'm fine doing that. Play this. Unlicensed Hearse can take out Ponder and land, I guess. And I am fine taking an attack for 2 here. No way this can grow. And I don't want to risk blocking with this creature. Again, very, very, very afraid of Wasteland on this mana source. I specifically need double-colored mana to get Crystalline Sliver in play. Alright, opponent has made a land drop and played a Dragon Rage Channeler. Sure. 2 of those might be enough that it's possible for a Murktide Regent to slip into play around this thing. That's going to be something that I'm going to have to keep in mind. Do I Wasteland my opponent? I need the land pretty badly. I also don't necessarily want to put cards into their graveyard right now. Yeah, I guess I can do it. I can also just, like, turn this into a... No. No, I really need to be activating these at sorcery speed. Like, I can't let a Murktide Regent slip through. I just lose. Alright. Junk the instants and sorceries as I gain chance to do so. I will not block with this creature. I will crash in. And at some point in the not too distant future, I can consider just turning Unlicensed Hearse sideways. Oh yeah, if opponent doesn't have more land drops, like, that's so fantastic for me. Yeah, great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I just turn this into an 8, that's just 2 attacks, and it kills my opponent in 2 attacks instead of 3. I like that. I'll take my Muscle Sliver attack first. Yaw. 1 to 12. Murktide Regent's not currently playable. I guess I can hold this up. See if I can eat something juicier. Okay, we're just trading hits for 2 damage. That's totally fine. My opponent's pretty likely to have counter spells in their hand, so when I play Crystalline Sliver, it's like not super likely to resolve. That said, I still think I just try jamming this 2 turns in a row and see if it works. Because it is disgusting if it resolves. There's a Force of Will pitching a Murktide Regent. That's all fine. I can try to turn the corner on this game, but I feel pretty good with the holding pattern that I'm in. Especially with my opponent, like, opting to pitch there. Like, I'm clocking faster, I have a bigger creature, and if I turn this sideways, it just results in my opponent holding these back, so I don't actually end the game in 2 turns like I plan on doing. Opponent also just does need to leave a creature back now, or they are just dead to Unlicensed Hearse in a single hit. So, like, there is that too. Okay, this was good enough to get the concession. I like how I played that. I'm not sure that I played that correctly. Like, I haven't played with this card in Slivers specifically to know, like, yeah, this is probably the time where you are safe turning the corner. But it felt like as long as a large creature didn't get into play there, like, I just couldn't lose if I eventually drew into lands, especially Cavern of Souls. Alrighty. So we have 3 lands, we have 4 slivers, hand's perfect. I mean, I would love if, like, one of these was a Cavern of Souls, so it's not literally perfect. Oh? No fucking way. It's mirror time, baby. Let's fucking go. So a bunch of these slivers are fucking symmetrical. So this is gonna get wild very fast. I'm gonna start by giving my slivers flying. Opponent says, "Oh man, I'm bad at this." So all of these ones are all slivers. These are you control. These are you control. These are you control. Are you getting Crystalline Sliver down? Okay, they have Unsettled Mariner, so that does have first strike. Alright, so I'm not very good. Neither one of us is very good at blocking right now, honestly. So I don't think I want to be the first one to play out Lords here. Because, like, my opponent kind of gets the first attack with the Lord. Maybe I'll do that next turn. Yeah, I think I like giving mine flying and haste. Buckle up. Weird round incoming. Bash in with my flyers, and next turn I can play a Muscle Sliver and a Plated Sliver, and then, like, I immediately get the damage out of my Lords, instead of, like, giving my opponent the damage first. I would love to draw my lifelink Sliver. Like, that would... yeah. That would be a huge get on my end. And we're off to the races. Alright. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have to make sure I don't die for playing my Muscle Sliver. 2. So my opponent currently has 7. I can make it 10. They play a Lord that's 13. They don't have any haste right now. They don't have any flying right now, so I think I'm okay. Name Sliver. There's a Muscle Sliver. Oh, no! They're playing the Force of Will build. Okay. Fine. The 6 next turn. Or sorry, 6 this turn. I am just going to crash in. That brings my opponent to 11. And then this is 2, 3, 4, 5 additional power, which is lethal in the air. Opponent's Lord growing my stuff is super relevant here. So I can't get eaten by a counterspell here. So I think I'm gold. Especially with that draw. Like, these are hasty. Alright, there we go. Send them. I don't think there's, like, a Fog Sliver that has flash or anything. Alright. I like it. I have no idea how to sideboard for the Sliver Mirror. Like, the Lords are still important, even though they're awkward. I like Maze of Ith. Like, that gives me options of removing my opponent's creatures or, like, post-combat damage, untapping one of my creatures. That seems fine. I think the Hearse is bad in the matchup. Like, the effect itself is good, but there's going to be so few cards in Graveyard that I don't know that I'm just, like, in love with that. My creature density is probably higher than my opponent's creature density if they're playing Force of Wills. Their Force of Wills might get boarded out, though. I can consider Harmonic Sliver for opposing Aether Vials, but I don't actually think that's good. Harmonic Sliver being symmetrical is wild. I think I'm going to just play like this with relatively minimal changes. I'm not really sold on Harmonic Sliver. Hands medium. I'll keep it. Like, I wish I had a 1-drop. Like, that feels important to me. But I have, like, 16 hits for that, so I think I'll just kind of accept that. That is not one of them. I will just play out a land and pass. Opponent is at a massive mana advantage here that I'm going to have to try to overcome. And my Hibernation Slivers kind of help them out. Ooh, opponent kept a risky 1-lander. Sure. I am just going to play these out, but like this definitely helps my opponent, but playing Hibernation Sliver doesn't feel amazing right now. Opponent's hand is just lower to the ground than mine is. They keep missing on land drops, like got a Striking Sliver. Oh, no, don't have more stuff. Yeah. So my maze is okay here. It soaks up some damage, but my opponent's stuff flies. I think I'm just dead. Yeah, I think I'm just dead here. I think I should have mulliganed that hand. That's fine. If my opponent is going to keep hands like that, then Harmonic Sliver does become more attractive. Hibernation Sliver is also just so much of a headache, I think. I think on the play, I'm good with Harmonic Sliver. My mana's a little awkward here. This Basic Plains is really bad. It doesn't cast any of these and allow me to multi-spell. That said, I think I'm still keeping it. Alright. Sliver, Galerider Sliver. I have assembled Evasion, and like here's to hoping I draw any rainbow land so I can just deploy multiple creatures in the same turn, and then play Sinew Sliver and the remaining one of these the turn after. Or we can do it that way. Try to wasteland my opponent off a color. I think I'll take the variety here. End up with flying first striking creatures. Crash in for 1. And I've got Sinew Sliver plus double attack next turn. Or not. That's okay with me. Especially now that I drew another land. That goes on Sliver. I'm going to get redundant flying. And crash in for my 2 damage here. Alright, great. I'm not really expecting removal. Fuck. I'm not really expecting removal spells, but like they are, like Dismember is a thing that exists. I don't mind that draw. I am just going to make Basic Plains as my land drop this turn, though. So like I am ahead on board in terms of number of creatures. I have Evasion that my opponent does not have. But my opponent, in theory, can cast spells, and I can't. Okay, yeah. I don't need to play this. Well, I guess I can play it pre-combat. There's not really a reason not to, you know? Alright, I'll play that. Go to combat. Bash in for 3 in the air. I could untap one of these creatures if I wanted to, but I think I'd rather hold this back. Alright, this is where things can start getting weird, because my opponent could, like, have something that gives them flying, for example. Okay, that's fair. I think my opponent is supposed to take that attack there. Like, maybe they forgot about the Maze of Ith, like, being shut off by Crystalline Sliver there. Alright, I'm scared. This land being Basic Plains is so bad for me right now. My opponent drops to 8. I am still at 20. But all my cards are stuck in my hand, and my opponent can play presumably most of their cards. Although playing lords are pretty bad for them. Block. Yeah, so now their creatures are bigger than mine. I mean, I play this, but that is an all slivers. So I've got to chill now. Yeah, this card invalidating my Maze of Ith was rough. Oh, that one's not symmetrical. That is one-sided. That's very good here. Okay. 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 First strike, death touch over there. Alright, the game is officially really fucking weird. Alright. Oh. This game is going to go on for a very long time. God, that Venom Sliver is horrific for me. Yep. This game may go on until one of us can just kill in a single turn. Like, just a one-turn lethal attack. How do I feel about these lords? Not good. Gonna go ahead and play out a Crystalline Sliver. I don't know, like, maybe I'm supposed to, like, let all the Crystalline Slivers die, and then try to do things with Maze of Ith. Like, first strike, death touch is brutal. Opponent also does have more cards in hand than I do, and we're deploying cards at about the same rate. Alright. Okay, Sliver Hive. That is a way that I could theoretically, like, really start pulling ahead. Alright. Again, I don't really think I want to play out my lords until, like, the theoretical attempt at lethal attack turn. Like, if it allows me to multi-spell, maybe I do. Game. Okay. Multiple instances of death touch. 3, 6, 7, 8. 3, 6. I will also control 8. I mean, I probably have to keep playing creatures. But all of this is very strange. Alright. Okay. That's fucking bad. Now my opponent probably has good attack lines. Okay, they're not taking them now. That's fine. Okay. Yes. How does this game end? Yeah, I think this game ends by me activating Sliver Hive a bunch of times. I don't know, like, everything is so weird. This is just a dead card with a Harmonic Sliver in play. I'm not even gonna play this out. I'm just gonna hold this like I'm holding a card. My opponent is officially at the point where they have more creatures than I do. They also have more lands, so they are working towards Sliver Hive first. Yeah, this is going on forever. Combat math has also become weird enough. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, opponent controls more creatures than I do. I have a bunch of 4/5 creatures. Their creatures. My creatures are bigger, but everything has lifelink. Yeah, I think I think I'm trying to set up for more creatures and then bounce a whole bunch of stuff with my opponent's hibernation slivers so that I can gain a bunch of life. Or sorry, so that my opponent doesn't gain a bunch of life. My opponent also mills out first. Just straight up throwing that out there as a thing. Okay, there's an unclaimed territory. Name Sliver with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So with one more land, I can start making things. Yeah, that's all fine. Yeah. Not a May. Well, I didn't even bother getting rid of those. Oh, another. Got the full playset of Crystalline Slivers on the battlefield. Okay, we're up to 6 of these on the battlefield. Very notably, my opponent has 2 cards in hand. Those may be Force of Will effects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, my opponent has 2 more creatures than I do. the kind of fucked up thing is that, like, my opponent can also remove some of these abilities by bouncing their own hibernation slivers. So since my opponent controls both of the hibernation slivers, they could, in theory, bounce both of their hibernation slivers in a way that makes me unable to bounce my creatures in the way that I wanted to. I have the bigger creatures here, but the combat math is so insane right now with every single creature on the board having lifelink, half of them having death touch. I am just going for more creatures. On we go. Alright, there's a Cavern named Sliver. Pass the turn, start making creatures with Sliver Hive. And then, once I'm to the point where I can safely have 8 damage, I go for my attack. Sure. Okay, everything is very large. My things got larger. Jesus. Okay. Everything has death touch. I'm gonna make another creature here. Alright. So, my opponent's death touch slivers need to go. Let's attempt to do that. Their lifelink one needs to go. Let's attempt to do that. I can have flying and they don't. That sounds good to me. Love to fuck around with these. 5, 10, 15, 16. I have to deal with my opponent bouncing all of these shitheads and denying me lifelink as well. So they can only bounce 4. I get straight up timeout thinking about blocks this turn. I don't think I can expose all of my things in combat here. I also have to deal with my opponent, like, bouncing their lords out of play. Ugh. Alright. 6, 11, 16, 26. This combat math is insane. Maybe I have to keep blocking. Like, keep my lifelink one out of combat. Leave the lords, try to take out as much of my opponent's first strike stuff as possible. Okay, you know what? let's see where that goes. Alright. Opponent has bounced 1. Okay. My opponent has more slivers left. Not great. My stuff now has lifelink and theirs don't. I guess the harmonic slivers are also gone now, and I have extra mana this turn. I can actually play these. I should have blocked more Crystalline Slivers. For Maze of Ith purposes. That turn was just so fucking complicated. Alright. Opponent just said someone had to do it. Math was impossible. Oh fuck, it's another Hibernation Sliver. Okay. Alright, so their stuff currently flies. Mine doesn't. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have played these Aether Vials. Alright, so let's put one of those on 1. The other one on 1. Play land. This is a 5/6. I can attack in with my own 5/6. And that is safe for me. Opponent said math is for blockers. Yes. Yeah. I'll crash in with that. My opponent can just block and pay 2 life. Or not. Just so I can F6. I think that is going to start becoming relevant. I'm just going to make another sliver. So I am getting bonus slivers from Sliver Hive. My opponent isn't yet. Their creatures have evasion and mine don't. Yep. Turn them sideways, yeah, that's fine. My opponent is dealing more damage. I have the lifelink. I think my opponent is currently favored here. No to that. So this actually costs me a little bit of life if I do this, right? Because my opponent gets 3, 6, 8 additional damage out of it. I get 4 additional damage out of it. So I should just make a token this turn. Okay, and again, this is a 4/5, so my attack in is safe. So I will go ahead and crash in. Just a perfectly normal game. Yeah. A lot of damage. Can't block any of it, so like it just occurs. And my opponent has like 40 damage. So gain like 26 back. Probably put this in now, right? Because it's worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from these alone. Plus itself. Yeah, that should be fine. Yes, do this thing. Now, I'll always node these. Leave them where they're at. And my creatures don't have haste or anything. I'll just go ahead and crash in with these. Go up to 43. Unfortunately, I think I'm still dead. My brain just, like, broke in that combat. Like, I definitely probably could have played that better. But it just got so complicated. GG's. Alright, I've kept my hand here. I have a very large number of slivers that are going to be probably unblockable. I am going to just go ahead and lead on Plated Sliver. I think if my opponent is going to use a removal spell, I would rather this one die, and if they don't have an immediate removal spell, I would very much like to start stacking it up so I can beat red removal. Okay. Double Sliver this turn is probably better. Make my first strike Sliver counterable. Okay, doesn't look like they have counterspells. They were F6'd. Do this one here. Crash in for 1. And then I'll just play like Lord, Lord, Lord. I am Lord for the rest of the game. Unless I eat a Wasteland. Like Wasteland on Cavern of Souls would be extremely strong here. Okay. I'm dead next turn a good portion of the time. Like, my hand is a fast goldfish, but my opponent potentially can go faster. So this is 6 this turn, dropping my opponent to 13. And then I have, what, 3, 6, 9, 12. That might be the 13th point of damage. So there's a very good chance that one of us is dead in the next turn cycle. But I think it's me. Yeah, so opponent is dead if they cannot kill me this turn. That's a good sign for me. Now, I can still die to Invigorate Berserk, but otherwise, opponent is dead with no way to stop it. Well, okay, I guess there are technically ways, right? We got Wasteland on Cavern of Souls, plus a counterspell could stop it. Alright. Am I dead? Invigorate Berserk does it. Invigorate plus, like, Kicked Vines would do it. Okay, alright. Getting harder now. Invigorate Berserk still does it. Double Invigorate still does it. But, like, Vines lines are now off. Am I dead? Okay. So this is 7 showing. So I am dead to an Invigorate. Do you have it? Oh, yes, they don't fucking have it. Let's go. Let's go. Sliver. I guess I'll cast a counterable one of these first. They just have the uncounterable one on backup. So I might as well play this around days. Yeah. So doing that causes them to take 1 extra point of damage. Then I just drop this one and murder them. Okay. Maze of Ith is pretty sick. I'll take that. This game's probably fast enough. I don't care about an unlicensed Urse. Alice technically does things, but I think my opponent has enough lines that kill me that don't involve 1-drops that I don't think I want to fuck around with that. And I can just, like, take out, like, a Hibernations. No, Syphon Sliver, actually. The lifelink is, like, very much not good. I will, in fact, say that that's so not good that I board in a Harmonic Sliver in its place. Because every once in a great while, that could kill an Inkmoth Nexus off an Aether Vial. Or, like, a Sylvan Library that's played out. This is so much power, but I think if I stumble on the second land, I am just dead. With a Maze of Ith in hand, this hand is very good. I will throw back a land here, I think. And keep 3 creatures. Wasteland is going to be good against this hand on a number of different fronts. Let's see. if opponent is starting on an elf or just a noble hierarch. They're starting on an elf, which means I will play Maze of Ith on turn 1. Like, no chances. This is the pause of someone going like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Okay, so like they can attack with multiple infect creatures in the same turn. That's a weird fucking brainstorm. That's a brainstorm that's not going to shuffle. I don't know about that play. That seems loose. If you randomly have some sort of like apostle, yeah. So because they just randomly played out this land, now I can just do this. And like while I am guaranteed to be able to kill that, I can take that out. And then I don't have to worry about the whole double creature situation. At least for the time being. Alright, Hierarch is totally fine. I'm going to do this every time. Like, I'm happy to, like, tap my card in my deck to tap it, but, you know. Alright, First Strike Sliver doesn't really matter right now. I think I'm going to attempt to get my evasion going. Daze is totally fine. Alright, there's redeploying the same land that I knew they had from Daze. Ponder's fine. Again, that's really poor timing, right? Like, if you're going to play the Ponder, you should play the Ponder first in case you end up, like, wanting to shuffle with a fetch land. I think my opponent is making a bunch of small errors. Like, I don't know their hand, so, like, I don't know that with 100% certainty or anything, but that's what it feels like from my side. This one can attack this turn if it resolves. So I think we try to shred some clouds. He's just a baby. Simple 1/1. Now, at some point, I do have to worry about, like, picked Vines of the Vastwood getting involved and fucking with my Maze of Ith. Yeah, and now opponent is threatening 3 creatures, which is definitely scary. Do what I can here. Predatory Sliver is worth +3 damage this turn. Double Striking Sliver is worth +2 this turn. I think I play one of these and then hope to draw a land to do another Lord and a Striking Sliver in the same turn. Alright, so there's a Lord. I actually could have considered playing this more defensively, huh? By playing double First Strike Sliver. Oh, maybe I fucked that up. I was probably supposed to play double First Strike Sliver and consider holding some stuff back. Okay. I think I'm gonna, given the line that I took, I think I'm just going to turn these sideways and take the damage and try to Goldfish my opponent. Like, I don't really have to flinch in response to 3 infect damage. Like, I can just take 3 infect and race my opponent out, I think. Especially if I draw another land. Oh! Nice. Double Striking Sliver is +4 damage. And some good utility. Yeah, so I think I attempt double Striking Sliver here. But then I hold one of them back as a blocker. Because I'll still just have lethal next turn. Like, attack with all, then hold one back. This is 6 damage. Putting my opponent to 8. And I play Maze of Ith. All at a turn. And it should be pretty hard for me to lose from here. Uh-oh. Okay. Famous last words. Yeah. Blossoming defense pre-combat. Yeah, that's 8, and I can't stop it with Maze of Ith. Well, damn. Alright. Is a similar scenario like that happening enough that I play Chalice of the Void when I'm on the play? I don't know that it is. Like, I could play a Chalice over, like, a Harmonic Sliver. Harmonic Sliver is eh. But I think the plan is kill my opponent. And, like, I have a 2 of Maze of Ith, and I happen to draw both of them. If I had some mana acceleration and I could play the Chalice on turn 1, it might be different here. I have a hand that's okay. I think I'm going to mulligan this one, right? So, like, this one goes Galerider Sliver into Predatory Sliver, and, like, can't curve into another Lord after that, and, like, also can't double spell very easily. I think I can do better in terms of aggression. This is not the best. I'm going to throw back a redundant Aether Vial here. Opponent's going to 5 cards, though. That means that, like, maybe I can get this slower hand to do something. Alright. Plains Vial go. And, okay, great. Pick this up. Not what I want to draw. Probably still play that this turn. Yeah, I can probably still play that this turn. We'll just cast that. Now, Harmonic Sliver, notably, is not optional, as we discovered in a previous round. So, like, this will just blow up my Aether Vial if I play it. Unfortunately, it looks like I am about to do. Alright. Tap this. Yes. Predatory Sliver. 1, 2, 3. Harmonic Sliver. I just think I need all this stuff in play to have maximum aggression to keep up with the shit that my opponent might be able to do. Like, they've mulliganed to 5, but it just takes 2 more cards to kill me. Like, Invigorate Berserk does it. Okay. That means I'm potentially okay for this turn. Now, it would take, like, triple Invigorate, assuming no land drop. Otherwise, like, land drop Invigorate Berserk could do it. Like, in good news, I do have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. In bad news, like, that Blighted Agent is unblockable and very scary. Alright. There's a Striking Sliver. I'll crash in with all of these. Opponent takes a bunch of damage. I'll play out this Aether Vial even though I expect it to do nothing and just get destroyed by one of my own Slivers next turn. There's worlds where it frees up some of my mana. But, like, I think in most cases these games aren't going to go long enough. Like, in all likelihood, I'm dead this turn. And if I'm not, my opponent is either dead or extremely crippled after the next turn. Like, I have 12 first strike damage coming in. So 3 of these coming in would be lethal. So that means 2 chump blocks are required. That could just, like, leave my opponent with only a Blighted Agent. The good news is, if my opponent's not just immediately turning shit sideways, I'm probably not just immediately dead. Like, all my stuff's on the table, right? Okay. That's some tech. Opponent has 2 damage showing. Oh. So, like, you're not technically dead there, though, right? Like, you animate Ink Moth, you block 2 of these, that's... Oh, they fetched. Yeah, they basically killed themselves by fetching there, actually. Yeah. Okay, we'll take that. We're 2-2. Alright, final round, we're playing against Bosch. Yeah, Bosch. We are playing against the Bosch. This is an insane Aether Vial hand, but if my opponent is playing like a Prismatic Ending or Counterspell deck that can just remove this, like, this hand does nothing, I think I'm just going to mulligan and try for something safer. And this absolutely qualifies. I will keep this hand. If you're not familiar with Brian, Brian, aka Bosch and Roll, also makes some fantastic Magic the Gathering content. I highly recommend his stuff. If you enjoy my stuff, you'll probably enjoy his. Alright, Cavern. Sliver. Bladed Sliver. Pass the turn. And just a quick note on, like, opening hands with this deck. A 1-land Aether Vial hand can be totally fine, but if that 1 land is a colorless source like Wasteland, you're putting yourself really far behind if that card gets answered. Ooh, we were playing against some sort of lands deck. Absolutely. So I am probably going to play a Predatory Sliver in this turn cycle so that I can get my Slivers out of range of Punishing Fire immediately. Because that is a thing that very much matters. Oh, hold on. So, quick note. When Yavimaya is on the battlefield, there is a green tap, and then there is a Cavern of Souls green tap. Those things are different. And we'll crash in with a Plated Sliver. Make Brian tap his little Maze of Ith over there. And we are terrified of Tabernacle. Note, part of the reason why I am attacking here is because this Maze of Ith represents a mana because of Yavimaya. So I want my opponent to tap this card so as to not use a green mana end of turn for something like, say, cycling, right? So that's the rationale there. Brian, don't go get a fucking Tabernacle. Don't do it. Fuck. Also just could be a Dark Depths. Yeah, okay. So luckily I do have both Galerider Sliver and Cloud Shredder Sliver. Fuck the Blast Zone! That's scary. Okay, it's tapping for mana. Another crop rotation. Yep, okay. So there's the stage. Now my opponent is going to copy Dark Depths with Thespian Stage, which creates a version that has no ice counters, so it gets removed immediately, creating the Merit Lodge. Alright, so there's a Striking Sliver, aka Monsieur Jump Blocker. There's a Galerider Sliver. They fly. So now we're just hoping my opponent doesn't have something that can remove a Galerider Sliver. Alright, here comes Merit Lodge. I think the Striking Sliver is the least useful one here. So I will throw that one under the bus. The intention of getting rid of a Plated Sliver next turn. Ooh, that's a Legend Rule Yavimaya. 3 mana or an Endurance. And Brian has to do that at sorcery speed because, like, he just used this. All right, Wasteland, you're a little late. So that the Endurance can't super profitably attack. I think I go ahead and play this one. So now I hold back Endurance, at least for now. I think as a reach, a little annoying. Not going to attack. Do think I'm going to do that. It does cut me off of Syphon Sliver specifically. That's a 2 of. I'm not too worried about it. All right. My Plated Sliver is my weakest one here. Goodbye. And stare at each other for a little while. They're all 3/3s. I can turn them into 4/4s. So I can turn them into 4/4s. Attack for 12. Puts my opponent to 8. Can chump block with the Sinew Sliver. And then I think I have a kill the following turn. Alright. It can happen, but here we go. Endurance may chump block here. Okay, opponent took it all. Alright, so Merit Lodge swings in, I chump block. I think I'm good. Stands some sort of like Maze of Ith situation. Fuck! Brian, no! Brian, no! Bad Brian! Bad Brian! Damn it! Come on, land. Fuck! Damn. So I think this is a no attacks turn. And then I chump block with Galerider Sliver. Oh, fuck, no. Endurance is a problem, right? I chump block with Galerider Sliver. I chump block with this. And I top deck the land. I have 9 power coming in, but Endurance just fucking blocks. So if that's not an out, I have to lose Predatory Sliver. I am losing ground to this thing. Damn, that Wasteland was disgusting. I thought I had wiggled out. Fuck. I am well in the abyss now. And it becomes very hard to get out of this. I can hit a whole bunch of running land drops, and, like, that's worth something. Okay, I think at this point I am dead. Like, I technically can chump block, draw a land, play this chump block, but that doesn't really get me to somewhere that wins. Ugh, Brian's Wasteland got me. Okay, I like Harmonic Slivers to blow up random enchantments that are on the other side of the battlefield. Unlicensed Hearse is okay. Maze of Ith is okay. I don't think I want, like, Null Rods or Ley Lines. Like, my plan is get my opponent dead. I don't need to dilute my deck too much with hate. I don't know, maybe Maze of Ith isn't actually good. Like, Maze of Ith stops an early Merit Lodge, but, like, my opponent is a Wasteland deck at the end of the day. Like, they will wait that out. Maybe I just need to stay creature dense and kill my opponent. Yeah, I'll buy that. I don't know what to board out. Striking Sliver is maybe not great. I don't like playing Tribal Go Wide decks versus Tabernacle. That doesn't feel good. Maybe a few Striking Slivers can go. I like the Lifelink Sliver going above 20. Sounds kind of nice. Okay, I have 2 lands. I have a bunch of slivers. The hand's fine. Not one of my absolute best like Aether Vial hands or anything, but I have the ability to hit hard and potentially get out of Punishing Fire range relatively fast, which does matter. I just think my opponent is on the correct side of the matchup here, though. Like, Fast Merit Lodge is hard for me to beat. Multiple Wastelands is hard for me to beat. Yeah. Alright. At the same time, like, I don't think I mulligan that hand. Like, the hand has good aggressive tools. And I'm ahead on board. I don't like this pause. Okay, that's fine. Are they crop rotating for Wasteland or Tabernacle? Oh. Okay. 3 mana. Sir. Sir. Please. I have a family. What the fuck? Brian says, not anymore. Sure don't. Sure don't. Absolutely fuck me. Oh my god. What a savage sideboard card. Brian. Brian. No. What the fuck? It's okay. Oh god. That's Wasteland Life from the Lone Block on top of Plague Engineer. I do not think there is a single thing in my deck that can beat that. Holy fuck. Ah. Yeah. That was a 2-3 league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Not bad, honestly. I don't know that this is the best deck in the world to be playing right now, but like I had a bunch of fun games of Magic that all felt relatively competitive. If I was willing to go closer to timing out and like do 100 iterations of that sliver, like giant combat turn, like I maybe could have won that one, but I think that was just a like let's see where everything goes. It was just so insanely complicated. I liked the cards that I had access to. The Unlicensed Hearse was very critical towards getting me some wins. I think that's a good piece of tech for this deck list. Slops to the Plains that lost me a match, I think. I don't remember if it was a game or a match, but like this not being able to cast some of these cards, I remember being a huge downside, but having one in your deck list does give you some upsides for things like Ghost Quarter and Path to Exile. So like there is that. And also like randomly playing against things like Nick Fit as well. But generally speaking, I'm on board with most of the stuff that's here. I didn't have very many like Aether Vial Go Wild games. I don't know that I started with a turn 1 Aether Vial that survived the entire league. Maybe one game or something like that. But in games that grind, Hibernation Sliver plus Aether Vial can get really cute. That didn't really come up in this league, but it's something that is like very powerful. So like this card was medium in this league specifically, but it's really strong generally speaking. Huge shout outs to Syphon Sliver though, who definitely saved my bacon in a few rounds. And I think we end up 3-2 a good portion of the time. There were a couple of key points where, we had it or opponent didn't, and vice versa. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. I am going to go just kind of relax for the rest of the day. This was kind of an intense league. I'm not ready to play another one right now. If you want to try this one out, or if you want to get one of your own deck lists on the channel, that information is available in the video description. See ya!